you want to run faster, maximising your running efficiency and reducing the amount of injuries you're getting whilst running, then in this episode we're going to be looking at the 5 tips that you need to know as a beginner runner to tackle your cadence. My name's Ray Whitby, welcome to Aspiring Runners. Now, cadence is the number of times your feet will hit the ground in a given minute, and through running, if you're at a consistent pace, hopefully you'll be developing a consistent cadence. But in understanding how your cadence can be of big value to you, we'll come through at least training and understanding what your cadence currently is and how the changes can then be impacted in your running. So the first thing you need to do as a beginner runner is to understand what your numbers are. So you need to get out, you need to, with a watch, be timing yourself and counting the number of footfalls that you're making in a given minute, and hopefully running on a flat enough surface where your running pace isn't varying too much. Much easier if you can use a watch or a running app or some kind of device on your foot that would count it for you. There is a lot of technology that can take care of that. But equally, if you've got a watch or a phone, then you can just count the number of footfalls that you're making. Maybe it's much easier to shorten the amount of time. Say, count the number of times your left leg is hitting the floor within 10 seconds and then multiply that up to the minute. And that will give you a marker number, your starting number for cadence. And the pro tips, we're all talking about this magical 180. And we're not talking about darts here, we're talking about the cadence. 180. And that's to get towards a regular run where you're turning your legs over that quickly. And really, no matter what your pace is. And then from there, you should be able to increase your cadence upwards. Now, before you start panicking, because maybe your cadence is way below that, for a lot of runners, even more experienced runners, they've not even bothered to look at their running cadence. And you see them often, whether it's a running meeting or you're down at your local park run, go to a large gathering of people, and you see a lot of runners that really have quite a slow turnover. The important thing here is understanding what your targets are and then trying to train your body to get towards those targets. Now, of course, if you've got your figure in mind, maybe it's 140, 150, you're thinking, my goodness, I've got to get to 180. Can I get out there and do it quickly? Of course don't. With anything in running, try to avoid massive leaps in change. So if you're trying to target 180 and you're at 150, you need to spend a couple of weeks just building that up to go from 150 to 155 to 160. Then maybe take a break, concentrate on some other things of your running, then get back into it, go from 160 to 165. And over a period of months, your body will be trained to improve its cadence and become part of your natural rhythm. And then, when you become a more experienced in your running, you'll be able to train your body to change its cadence by design, so that if you find you're going into a sprint, be able to intentionally speed up your cadence. Now, the cadence does vary according to, the surface that you're running on. If you're going on a very slippery surface, you'll find that you don't want a very high cadence, otherwise you'll lose stability. But equally, if you have a very low cadence, the amount of time that your foot is in contact with the floor increases. Therefore, through your running gait, that could maximize the potential of rolling over your ankle and causing significant injuries. And I know from experience what that's like. So you have to adjust according to the terrain. If it's particularly loose, you're running a trail, then you may wish to choose a slightly slower cadence. Until you get a decent understanding of your system and what it can cope with, until it's trained to be able to deal with what's in front of you. But equally, if you're changing your inclination of your running route and you're trying to go up a hill naturally, your running cadence will decrease. If you're running down that hill, then your running cadence will increase. So again, varying your terrain will have a massive impact on how quickly your legs are spinning over. But also, assess that your energy levels can also impact it. That the more tired you're getting out running, the harder it is to maintain control over your running cadence. It takes a supreme amount of energy. So running is not just good for you physically, it's also good for you mentally. So, best ways to make some improvements, of course, get out there with a watch or a clock or a phone and just practice. Intentionally think about the number of times that your feet are hitting the floor and then try to vary that and increase it slowly over a period of time. Now you may find that it's easy to run with music, and there is a lot of music out there you can get that has been selected because of its beats per minute. And I have found this useful as well, is to don your headphones, just listen to the beat of the music, and then try and get your feet to turn over in your run to that tune, to the beat of the tune, and see how you get on. You could also try running with a friend and getting them to have a look at your cadence, getting them to do an assessment. Maybe they can provide some practical advice. Maybe they could actually film you running so you'll understand what I'm talking about, as a self-reflection and how to improve. And as I've said throughout this entire series, this complete guide to running for beginners, just use one element per week to focus on, apart from the warm-up, which is in a previous episode, but just use one element to get out there and just focus on that. Don't worry about your aspirational goals, they'll come in time. Get the basics down right and everything will fall into line. Now I hope you found this useful. If you have, please click on subscribe, hit the bell notification. You'll be notified of upcoming videos, and hit the like button. And please comment down below if you found this useful, or if you haven't found this useful. What is it that you're struggling with? What is it that you found that's been helpful to you and maybe others? Come share your wisdom. Thanks for joining me in this episode. I'll catch you next time on Aspiring Runners. Take care.